So I have a master's in public health, but I also have a PhD in sociology and worked for years as an epidemiologist. So I've worked twice with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, but spent about 8 years at the Florida Department of Health working as an epidemiologist. So it's very much grounded in data and science and moving forward in an evidence-based way.
Do you think that there is a lot of medical misinformation out there?
I think it's like taking a match to a powder keg. I think it has absolutely exploded in this environment that is unregulated and it's like the Wild West. I mean, you can find the answer that you want to anything. It's pretty scary, and there's no regulation out there to rein it in. We are so accustomed to obtaining our news from social media. So this misinformation is sitting right there. It meets us exactly where we are. And so because it's the Wild West and things are not filtered, what may look legitimate because it's coming from a celebrity and from a known person does not mean that it's credible. And so you have to follow the money because at the end of the day, it's all about the money. Are they pushing a book? Are they selling supplements? What's going on? They're just building up their following by saying things that are maybe anti-establishment or anti-government that capture people's attention. And that just grew even exponentially during COVID when people were desperate for answers. And there was so much that was changing in the science, so much misinformation out there. It was hard to know what was true. So you glom onto what you think may be respected, you think maybe an authority, but ultimately you have to do the fact checking for yourself. You have to talk to your doctor. You have to look at legitimate sources like the CDC, like the NIH to verify what you're saying and be a responsible citizen and not promote that misinformation by sharing it or telling others about it.
Do you think that anyone can be susceptible to this?
Honestly, I think it runs the gamut. We are in this world where we do a Google search and we pull up information. We're used to Amazon and we get things right away. We go to social media and we get these answers immediately. But we need to have a healthy dose of skepticism and apply critical thinking. And I do think I think it does run the spectrum. I think from the educated to the uneducated, from the young to the old, I think we're all susceptible to it when we're looking for answers. I mean, this Dr. Google phenomenon is real, and social media is capitalizing on Dr. Google.
Is there any kind of misinformation out there regarding health that has shocked you or surprised you in terms of people who believe it?
My son who is 20, smart kid, really into bodybuilding. He, like all of his friends, were following the Liver King.
More! Yeah! Fearless, powerful, manly, unkempt.
Well, the Liver King guy promotes this fitness through eating raw organ meat, particularly liver. And so he developed this following of this is how I got this incredible ripped physique that looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger by eating raw organ meat. But at the end of the day, the Liver King was selling very expensive supplements. And it turned out he was using steroids to get that incredible physique. It was not just livers alone, you know, but he captured the imagination of all these young guys who want to look like that. Suzanne Summers is another great example, more targeted at my demographic.
Then I found Thigh Master.
She was a huge social media influencer in the area of menopause. She died of estrogen receptor positive breast cancer. She chose not to take chemotherapy.
I thought, there's got to be something better than this. And then my manicurist, the manicurists know everything, Denise, is doing my nails. And she said, well, there's a doctor in Santa Barbara. She's an endocrinologist, and she's doing something with bioidentical hormones.
But instead, use supplements and bioidentical hormones that are not approved through the FDA, are not an approved evidence-based physician-promoted regimen. And yet she had tons of followers looking to her for information because particularly with menopause, women are desperate for information and they're desperate not to get breast cancer and have weak bones and have bad hearts. But she capitalized on that space, that desire for information.
Why is misinformation dangerous, or is it?
I think the concern about misinformation is that potentially it can, at its extreme, have deadly consequences. Promoting a hormone regimen that is not tried and true regimen, increasing your risk for cancers. It can lead to death potentially. Eating raw organ meat can absolutely lead you to an early demise. It is unbelievable what people believe, but you're looking at someone like Suzanne, who's beautiful and she's telegenic and had an incredible career, and she's this fitness, guru. She is the original thigh master, now living her best life, taking these hormones, and then suddenly cut short. But at the end of the day, she was promoting a book, like Liver King was promoting his supplements. So these are very serious consequences at the end of the day.
Do you think that people have lost faith in the medical community?
You don't have to go to the library and look up a peer-reviewed article, because you can easily go to social media, which you're probably on anyway, getting your news, and find whatever influencer to give you some information that sounds reasonably credible. They look good. They seem to be thriving. Well, maybe you should do the same thing. Social media just makes it too easy to access misinformation. And again, with no regulatory body overseeing what goes in, again, you really need to follow the money and really do your own critical thinking.
Where should they go for something that's reliable, trustworthy?
I would absolutely start with our personal physicians as the source of credible information. And then beyond that, there are credible sites like the Mayo Clinic, like the Centers for Disease Control, National Institutes of Health, leading healthcare establishments that are tried and true sources of information that have your best interest at heart, and not about monetizing their influence or gathering followers. You really have to do it in lots of ways. Talking to your doctor, looking at credible websites, even talking to your friends and family. Like, does this sound right to you? As crazy as that sounds, listen to them and get their opinions. If it sounds suspect, it probably is suspect, right?